It's a new video, a new studio, and today we're talking about emergency preparedness in your vehicle right now. Welcome back to my channel. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing. Also, follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Today we are talking about, I think, a seasonal topical discussion, which is vehicle preparedness for an emergency. If you live in the city or you live in the country, no matter where you're living, you need to have your vehicle prepared with a few basic things. Today is part one, which are some obvious things, and we will go through those. I'll also be doing a part two, which is not so obvious things that I carry, and I think they're very, very useful to have in your vehicle. So let's get started. The one thing you need to remember about emergency preparedness or vehicle preparedness is it doesn't necessarily always have to be for an emergency. If you are a parent, if you are somebody that travels a lot, these are the sort of things that could just make your life more comfortable, and they're handy to have in your vehicle. So you never know when you're going to get in an accident. You never know when you're going to break down. You never know when the kids are going to get hungry, whatever else. So let's talk about today again, which is going to be all about the obvious. Now, a few things I cannot put in the studio here, but it's obvious that you need to double check that you have is one, a spare tire that is pumped up and in useful condition. That could be just a donut that'll take you up to 50 miles, or it could be a full-size spare tire, but make sure you have a spare tire. And two, the tools in order to change it. So whether it's some sort of jack that you need, a star wrench, or just a regular wrench that'll get the lug nuts off and put them back on, you need that kit. Most newer vehicles are going to have something along those lines. I have heard about vehicles that they're not putting them in anymore. Make sure you have that. Calling your local tire shop, phone call away, isn't always the easiest thing, and you can't always do that. So make sure you have that, and make sure you know how to use it. If that is something that you're not familiar with and you'd like an example of how to change a tire, comment below for me, and maybe I'll do a video around that. So with that out of the way, I was at Costco the other day, and this caught my eye. I have my own emergency preparedness kit in my vehicle, both my wife's and mine. But this one caught my eye because it was very cost effective. It had just about everything you need in it. And it's at a Costco, which most people have access to, at least in the United States. So here it is. It is the Bridgestone Auto Emergency Kit. Let's see if it can get into focus. There you go. The Auto Emergency Kit. This kit really has some cool stuff into it. So we'll tear into this, but just to kind of give you an overview, it has LED road flares. It's got booster cables or jumper cables, is what I've called them, funnel cable ties, a utility knife, screwdrivers, a little mini first aid kit, which that's going to also be in part two, an emergency blanket, a poncho, things like that. So let's look in this and check it out. This price on this at Costco, time of video, was $39.99. So not a bank breaker, but not super cheap, but it's also in this compact case. It's a relatively hard, kind of that soft hard case, if that makes sense, and that you can, stow away. So let's dive into it. So as you can see, there's kind of a lower section here that has some stuff in it. We'll go through that. And then it has an upper section here, which appears to be kind of your first aid kit and such. So starting with the lower section, just taking these out. The first thing that's the most obvious that a lot of people do not have is jumper cables. Jumper cables. Booster cables, they call it here. This is a greatest thing in the world. If you have a dead battery, or you have a friend, a coworker, someone else that has a dead battery, these can be scarce. So having these in your car, they don't take up much space. These, I'm assuming, are probably 6-foot jumper cables. So pull your car up next to or in front of your friend, or them in front of you, you're on your way. So booster cables, great to have. This is duct tape. Great little roll of it. It is 5 yards worth, so about 15 feet. A great little section to have if you need to tape up a wire, tape up anything, your fender's falling off, I don't know. Duct tape, if you've never used it, it's great to have around. So neat little thing. This is an electronic road flare. So instead of the old style, pull them off and road flare, this is an electronic one. It has a little loopy thing here, so you can hang it. So you can hang it on something if you want, but press the power button. Oh, and by the way, always make sure you test out your gear so you know how to use it, so the first time you use it isn't when you need it. All right, so there you go. Little road flare thing. Power button on the front, easy to use. Again, test yours, but when you get it, make sure it works. This kind of an added that I don't even have in my truck, but it was a great thing to have. It's a little DC pump to pump up a tire. Doesn't appear like something that you're gonna pump up a car tire on, but maybe you are. It has a little adapter. It will plug into a car thing, so it goes up to, wow, yeah, it goes between 60 to 100 pounds, so you should more than be able to pump up a tire with this, so I stand corrected. Pump up your tire. You get a flat, maybe it's a slow leak, come out to your car after work, slow leak, plug this into your lighter, pull out this little thing, plug it in. I have this size thing. You'll probably sit there for a while, but you get it blown up, you'll be able to get to the tire shop. So, car pump. Okay, next is a little plastic funnel. This is great if you need to put oil in or antifreeze or whatever else. This is compact, so quality-wise, it's something similar to what you would see in your kitchen, but really neat little funnel. You know, it's nothing high dollar, but hey, that's not what you need in an emergency situation. Hopefully you have a real funnel at home if you're doing funnel work. This is just meant for if you need something in a pinch, you can use it. You can fold it up, throw it in a plastic bag after that because it'll probably be all dirty, and voila, you're good to go. So compact, neat funnel. All right, on to the next here. Neat little package that has the rest of the stuff in it. So, you know, just a little added bonus for inside your case. All right, first is a bungee cord. It's a neat little, again, you're driving down the road, you are on a vacation, something's dragging on your car, you get out, and there's something that's dragging down, you don't know how to tie it up, there you go. Take your bungee cord the thing up until you get to a spot to fix it right. Quick fix, neat for any situation. Poncho, I think I mentioned the poncho in the beginning, just a little rain poncho. Starts pouring down rain, you gotta get out. These things are cheap to replace as well. I keep them on my fishing boat. I keep like 10 of them on my fishing boat, or 4 of them. I don't know how many fish, but they're clear. This one's yellow, so you can be well seen if you're in an emergency situation, changing the tire, and I'm on the side of the road. You put this on, people can see you, you stay dry, you change your tire, you're out of there. So, emergency poncho, emergency blanket. If you've never seen an emergency blanket, they're this reflective material that when you put it over your body, it reflects your heat back onto you so that you can stay warm. They're not like super thick, obviously, but really neat thing to have around for a number of situations. Somebody falls in the river and they pull out and they're cold. Wrap them in an emergency blanket. You run out of gas and you're getting cold. Emergency blanket. Your kids are complaining because they forgot to bring a blanket and you're driving down the road and they want something over top of it. Just saying. Very useful, and again, these are cost effective. If you use it and you throw it away, you buy another one, I think they're probably 50 cents a piece or $1 a piece, so good to have. A utility knife, just a cheap little utility knife, that's great. I'll speak more about knives in the next video as well, but this is a great extra thing to have. It has little break off blades, so use it and you can break one off if they get used up, but utility knife, always great to have, many good situations. A tire gauge and a flathead screwdriver. Again, pretty obvious use. Flathead screwdriver you may use a lot if you don't have a toolkit in your vehicle. I carry a toolkit, but if you do not, it's great to have a flathead and a Phillips head. They will save your bacon. You'll be looking at a screw you need to take off and being like, why don't I have a Phillips screwdriver? So flathead, and then your tire gauge also, just to kind of see what your gauges are doing. These are great. You'll see again in the next video some things that I do differently but similar to this. Just some great things for, especially if you have kids or you're prone to spill stuff. You just need extra stuff to wipe stuff up without, you know, grabbing a sock or your sweatshirt, something like that. These are great to have. So, and lastly is our first aid kit. I'm not going to open this up completely, but let me read to you what is in here so you can see. So we have a first aid instruction card, 10 large adhesive strips, so Band-Aids, 10 small Band-Aids, 2 gauze pads. They are 2-inch gauze pads, 2x2s, 1 roll of adhesive tape to keep them on, and a hand wipe towelette. So, you know, it's fine. Tomorrow, again, the next video I'll be talking a little bit more about a first aid kit, but this is just a great little extra one to have. You know, it's wonderful. A lot of people, you cut yourself when you're out and about, you know, whether you're in town or out in the woods or, you know, taking a trip, whatever you're doing, people cut themselves, things happen. So having a little first aid kit like this is great. You'll see my one on the next video goes a little bit further than this, but not too much further. So a great thing to have. So I was trying to figure out why my flasher was not working. Again, going to the whole be prepared mantra. And then I found the batteries, so that's why it wasn't working. So if you want, you can keep them like this and then just put them in when you need them, or you can put them in, but you're going to need to replace them every now and then. So I'd probably just put them in there, and every 6 months or so, pop it open, test it. If it's still working, you're fine. Maybe put these in here, and then on have another set in here as a backup. But one thing I forgot to mention with this is it's magnetic too. So you got your car, you broke down the side of the road, you can stick this to the tailgate, and it'll be flashing so people can see you really well. So good little thing. And that's it. So again, doing kind of a recap of this, the most important things that I see in this kit that you should definitely have is some sort of flare, whether it's a LED, electronic, or an old school flares that you put in your vehicle. Jumper cables are extremely important. I've had jumper cables in all my vehicles since I was 16 years old, and my dad, before me, had 2 pairs of jumper cables in all his vehicles. I don't know why, but he did. So jumper cables really, really important. From this kit. And then these are taking no space as the poncho and the emergency blanket. These can be very, very important to what you need. So, but all of this is very useful, and it all fits in this nice little case that, you know, what can you say? It's a hard case. You can stick this under your back seat, into your trunk, put it wherever you can fit this. So well worth it. And there's actually a little extra room in here once you put everything in here that you could put some other stuff if you want to, which will bring us to our next video. So stick around for that. Subscribe to see that video, which will come around again next week. Or if you're watching this in the future, I'll annotate it at the end of the video. But other than that, neat little kit, $39.99. Quality is average, but for the money, it's well worth it, I think, and especially if you don't have this in your vehicle. That's all for me today. And again, subscribe before you take off. Thank you very much for that. And until next time.
Bringing it loud like a stadium shake.